Hugo Gonzalez was quietly one of the most intriguing rookies in the league this past season, and it's in large part because he plays defense like a seasoned veteran. The Blazers are inbounding here, and check out Hugo just casually backpedaling. He even turns his head away like, oh, I'm not worried about my man at all. And Caleb Love sees that casual body language, assumes the pass to Sharp is open, and of course that's exactly what Hugo was baiting. He gets the pick six, so where most rookies were just trying to survive on defense, we can already see that this was no ordinary 20-year-old. We'll cover a ton of aspects of his defense, but let's start with him off the ball, where his instincts as a help defender really shine. He seems to have already mastered this type of play where the offensive player turns his head and back to Hugo so he can sneak down from behind him. That is incredible timing to block the shot, and again here, Nembhard's playing one-on-one. He uses that patented shoulder bump to create some space, and he probably has a layup there, except Hugo leaves his man to scare him out of it, and now Garza can rotate one over, Simons can slide up to the wing, and check out Hugo staying active to close to the corner. That is beautiful team defense. This time the Thunder are running a Spain pick and roll, and Hugo switches with Pritchard, but as he's switching, he keeps his head on a swivel and he sees Shireman cutting off that drive. Again, Mitchell has his head turned and Hugo's anticipating the spin back to the middle, and he guessed right again. So these plays are a type of calculated gamble where the defender has to decide when to leave their man and take the risk. Those instincts are really hard to teach, and it's important to note that most elite defenders do some level of freelancing and gambling. Naz Reid slips free here, and traditional principles probably say that Keita should help at the rim and Hugo should slide down to Anderson and then be ready to close out to Clark. But instead, Hugo's spidey sense goes off and tells him to protect the rim, and he gets that thing out of here.
It's the whole anonymous superhero thing. Why'd you do that?
I was trying to see if you have the tingle thing.
I have the tingle thing, just not for bread.
Hugo has the tingle, he has it for sure. It might be my favorite part of his defense, but when you help this aggressively, it's really important to be able to recover out of it, and I thought Gonzalez really shined in closeout situations. At first glance, this looks like a bunch of the plays we've already seen, where a ball handler puts pressure on the rim, Hugo's eager to help, but this time Laravia makes the kick-out pass, and Gonzalez sprints to the shooter and slides to catch that drive. But it's not just about his athleticism. Joe Mazzulla praised him all season for his effectiveness in cover 2 situations. Now I know cover 2 sounds like a football term, but this is what Mazzulla means. It's a loose ball in a scramble, and all of a sudden Hugo's left alone to cover 2 offensive players. And watch this, at first he closes to the gap to take away the corner, now he starts toward the shooter, so Larson thinks the swing pass is there, but Hugo gets back in the passing lane to steal it. That is unbelievable stuff, probably my favorite play I've seen from him, and he throws in a pretty slick pass on the break too. I like it. And again, these are veteran level plays. He's in a similar spot on this one, starts toward the shooter, but recognizes it's a pass and he's ready to jump it again. So there's a unique combination of things happening on these, where he has the awareness to close to a gap and scare Keegan out of throwing the corner pass, but he also has the athleticism and want to stay with him on the drive, and it totally undoes the advantage for the offense there. Okay, in this game against the Lakers, Hugo's job was literally to stay glued to Luka Doncic, like full-on face guard him, but when LeBron draws a double in the post here, Rui ends up wide open in the corner, so Hugo's forced to rotate to him, but he knows Rui's thinking about Luka, takes the pass away, and forces Rui into a less efficient shot. That's just awesome awareness and understanding of the game for someone so young. This is another great example of Hugo's awareness combined with that Spider-Man-like reaction time, where Nembhard's pushing the pace, and watch Gonzalez read the play. He's looking at the ball, now turns and clocks the cutter, now turns back toward the ball, sees Garza gamble, and reacts perfectly to stop the easy layup. That is just so good. So off the ball, he looks like he's been in the league for about a decade, but let's move to on the ball now and talk about his strength, which is not only impressive for a rookie, but impressive for anyone. As Siakam drives here, he gives Hugo the shoulder shoulder, but Gonzalez cuts him off with his chest and absorbs all that contact without ever separating from Siakam. That is crazy strong, and it totally disrupts the drive. His strength really helps him to navigate screens. Like on this one, Nembhard gives a little jab to set up the pick, but Hugo can just lower his shoulder and blast right through it while staying totally on balance and then recover for the block. So this isn't your classic slide over, slide under, Drew Holiday type screen navigation. Instead, Hugo's more than okay to initiate the contact and keep his angle tight around the screen rather than trying to loop over and fall behind. This time he's off the ball and has to navigate a pin down, and these little bumps and checks just don't affect him, which leads to all sorts of issues for the offense. And when you have a guy this strong, sometimes it's like running into a brick wall where the ball handler's the one to lose their balance or lose the handle, which is exactly what happened to Walter Clayton Jr. there. His strength also lets him guard up multiple positions, so extremely versatile in terms of matchups, and he's actually so strong that in game 7 of the first round, Boston tried their rookie on 270-pound MB. Joel tries to go right through his chest, but Hugo holds his ground, and now another big bump doesn't create much separation either, and that's pretty ridiculous. We saw him guard Siakam on a drive earlier, but here he is on a post-up, and as Siakam goes, there's the chest bump from Hugo, and Pascal just can't gain any ground there. You'll see Hugo go with this really wide stance to guard these post-ups in order to give him more leverage. I like this one against Luka, where we see that wide base, and he gives up some ground at first, but as Luka turns to shoot, Hugo is totally on balance and crowds him for a great contest. So there are plenty of plays where Hugo's doing things that don't show up in the classic box score, but the best example of that has to be his absolutely relentless motor. Okay, first of all, notice he's playing the 5 in this lineup, which we talked about, but now he switches onto the ball, and Miami's running this cut slide play where Pritchard's man is going to slide to the corner, and Payton's got way too long of a closeout. His guy is wide open, but keep your eyes on Hugo, who jumps to deter a shot and then in one motion sprints to block the 3. That is a ridiculous second effort. He typically spaces in the corner on offense, and he has a real knack for plays like this, where the other team gets out on the break and he's just got to bust his ass back here. He reads the lob and closes to it like a heat seeker. And these plays are not few and far between. He gets another one here, and they called it goaltending originally, but reversed it on the replay. So the blocks are awesome, they're really cool, but this type of hustle can also just stop a fast break or take away what would probably be a rim attempt and turn it into a tougher shot from above the break. The motor does also show up on offense, where he starts this play sprinting back in transition defense, and then he just has to change course and he burns everyone down the floor. He basically just did a down and back mid-game and got a layup. And speaking of his offense, let's actually move to that end of the floor now and dissect his strengths and weaknesses here. We'll start with his strengths, and I really like how active he is as a cutter off the ball. Notice as Cade steps up to show help here, Hugo immediately darts behind him, but I think Brown missed the pass, and Hugo will get sagged off of and ignored at times like this, so it'll be really important for him to capitalize on these opportunities. The thing I like about the cutting though is Hugo isn't a non-shooter by any means, yet he still cuts really frequently. Like on a play like this, it would probably be totally fine for Hugo to just stay spaced in the corner, but he really seeks out these openings. There's another bounce pass available here if Simons wants it, and here's another in transition where he's probably open for a second, doesn't get it again, but that cut clears up space for a middle drive. Another positive area for his offense is his ability to crash the glass, and again, his strength really shines on these, just bullying through Jordan Clarkson, get out of my way, and a guy this physical, this fast, this strong, and this purely psychotic is certainly a lot to handle on a box out. He grabbed 2.2 offensive rebounds per 75, and Boston's offensive rebound percentage was 2.1% better with him on the floor. All right, let's jump over to his shooting, which isn't exactly a positive right now, but I actually think he projects to be solid. In terms of mechanics, he has a pretty smooth one motion shot, and it's not Steph Curry quick, but it is quicker than other guys who you see in this elite defender hustle guy role. He does have his guide hand in a bit of a funky position, and I can't totally tell if he flicks his thumb, but overall I like the motion and how fluid it is. He does tend to have these knocked knees when he loads up to shoot, and I've heard mixed opinions on this. There's a chance it messes with balance, but also some of the best shooters ever had similar looking legs, so I don't totally know what to make of it. Honestly, I think think it might be a non-issue, but just something to think about. He shot 38% on catch and shoot threes this past season on very low volume. Now, he does occasionally pass up shots, which could be cause for concern, but I think it's partly a lack of confidence and partly just bad decision making. Like, he passes it up at first here, then realizes he should have shot it and takes the step back. So it's not exactly someone who's terrified to shoot, it's more that he isn't totally reading the situation correctly, and that leads us to his areas of improvement. He really struggles to handle the ball and read the floor at the same time. You can see him dribbling with his head down here, and he's way too late trying to hit Pritchard. It's an easy steal, and there are plenty of slow decisions like that, but a lot of his bad passes seem connected to his weak handle to me. He just isn't confident putting the ball on the floor, so he wants to get off of it right away, which tends to lead to rushed passes and unforced turnovers like this. On this one, literally as soon as he touches the ball, he just wants to get rid of it and chucks it out of bounds. And his handle is pretty loose. He struggles to chain together multiple counters and dribble moves at the same time, so he gets poked pretty frequently. You can see just how slow this crossover is, and that ball is totally exposed. He'll probably never be asked to create on his own, but I think attacking closeouts is going to be a huge swing skill for how good he becomes. He has the first step in athleticism to beat guys to the rim and finish in these spots, but he needs to improve how quickly he decides to either dribble, pass, or shoot, and when he does drive, the handle and passing reads need a lot of work. So obviously plenty of spots to improve, but overall he had an extremely encouraging rookie season, and I'm projecting him to become a starting caliber player or high minute bench guy on a championship level team when he hits his prime. I think he's got multiple all defense teams written all over him. Let me know in the comments what you think of Hugo. Thanks for watching.